started. All right, guys, welcome back to Sklarbro Country. As we sort of hurtle towards the end of the year, I was going to say that we wanted these guys in the new year, but I actually am so excited. This is almost like a holiday gift for us.
Yes,
this is the Christmas we never had as kids because we're Jews.
Right. That was denied to us.
I'm so psyched to have these guys on. They have a fantastic new series.
With a great name.
Yeah.
Kings of Con.
Kings of Con. But although Kings of Conversation is what you...
That's the that's our after show, our talk show
of the
the talk show, the post show about which is the brief thing
exactly.
about this. Yes, I love it.
But phenomenal idea, Richard Spade and Rob Benedict. Guys, how are you? Welcome.
Thank you.
Yeah,
it's so great to be here, and I'm so glad we're
You're my Christmas
big short white guy Christmas gifts that you never had as a
You
child.
guys are the short
Can
white
I tell you
guys.
something?
You guys finally arrived.
Can I tell you something? I just found out. My sister did a DNA test, and I found out that I'm 10% Jewish.
What?
Yeah.
Hey,
that was a life change. I was like,
feel all
I
Jewish
was like,
to
I
me.
knew it.
You are all. You feel very
By the way,
Jewy to me.
I know, right?
Yeah, that was the shocking part. Wasn't that he was 10%? It was he's only 10%.
Yeah, I was like, what?
I know.
That's
I know.
all. Go get that thing retested. You're at least 18%.
Sure.
Recount.
Well, boys, it is phenomenal. First of all, we should kind of align for our viewers, our listeners, who they might have seen you in other things. And
Rob, I first was turned on to you and such a huge fan of yours from Headcase, which to me was just one of the best shows.
Allie Wentworth.
I love that you know that show. Like, to me, that was one of the best experiences I've ever had.
We got turned on. How did we find out about this? You were like, I was on Stars, and I fucking saw
this
this
show came on, and I was like, "What is this thing?" And she was so funny. And then I saw
You're like, it's amazing. Then Landisberg,
the Landisberg Wayne Fetterman scenes where they're just talking about the drugs they're taking,
prescription pills and how they're getting them
at a diner. They're always at the diner.
Yeah, right.
It was one of those things where you just set people in certain moments, and your character. What I loved about it was because you played Allie Wentworth, who was the lead, her boyfriend.
Yeah.
But like you
fiance
said,
almost, or about to be fiance.
Exactly.
and you were
Who was just fucking her
over and
all
fucking
the
with
time.
her, but like not a bad guy, like a nice guy who couldn't really handle her.
Right.
It was
But
really
you,
funny.
You play the guy who's beaten upon so well. To me, that is your sweet spot of
Right.
the guy who gets just the shaft.
Yeah.
trounced.
And
Trounced.
play it so well in this new series.
Right.
Trounced.
Yeah.
So well. It was amazing to kind of see that nervous energy, but in a position of power where
yeah.
you're kind of digging it to
Yeah.
her and you're like, there's nothing I can do. I got another girl. It's so good.
It was really, really great.
Yeah.
This is, by the way, the longest conversation I've ever had about Headcase ever. Because I know Rob did the show and he talks about it a lot, but we've never encountered
People who
super
love
fans.
it. Yeah,
Love
man.
Headcase.
know it. Yeah, a lot of people don't know it at all. Yeah, it was.
Ahead of its time, I would
What was
think.
great? It was all improv. You know, it was one of those shows. It was like
There was no script?
No, not at all. It was,
Holy shit.
For real?
We'd literally come in and he'd go, hey, so in this scene, you know, you've got a girl waiting in the back room, but so she doesn't know about it. All right, go. So we'd do it, and it would be, funny parts. He'd come in. Bobby Bauer was the executive producer, really great guy. So he'd come in and he'd go, "Hey, this worked. Keep that. Lose this part and get to this quicker. Got it." And then you'd go like,
It's amazing because you got to listen. It's
Yeah.
all about, to me, I love it so much
We
more
just
because-
did bajillion dollar properties, and that's the same. It's
Okay.
the same.
it's
improvised.
it's on CISO.
Is
Great.
that Paul Tompkins?
Paul
Tompkins.
Tompkins, and
He's
I
so
mean,
great, man.
unreal, and Kulop's. It's Kulop's show, and I mean, they're just
Delmont. We did our scenes with her.
so
She was
good.
hilarious.
it's a great acting exercise.
It's the best. I remember you and I, Richard, were in an audition for something, and this is one of the moments where I was like, it was you and me and like Jeff Davis and like a handful of other dudes who came in on some audition for some show, and we all had to improvise. And I just remember you were so good and so confident and so like calm and relaxed, and I was just like, what did he fucking have for breakfast?
Well, I
Like,
tell
this
you,
guy's
that
like killing it
I often
on
ask
every
myself
level.
that
I was super impressed. I never forget that. I can't remember what we auditioned for, but I just remember standing next to you like, holy crap. I'm like, oh yeah, this is why this guy books so much shit. He booked, I mean, you're in every phenomenal commercial. How great were those Pepsi commercials?
That was the gift that kept giving.
That was just an unbelievable gift. You're the Pepsi driver. You had so much fun stuff to do. I mean, we just did the Burger King commercials.
Yeah.
Like, and
Saw that, by the way. Great
like
job.
they're
Yeah,
12
right.
seconds. It's
Right.
12 seconds.
I mean, that was all improvised. We improvised for like an hour just
You
sitting
could
there.
tell it's you guys being you, which is
Right.
funny.
I mean, the improvisations that didn't make it were when I was like, 10 nuggets for $1.49. My deal is way better than yours. And Jay's like, 2 Whoppers. I was like, I don't think you are even close to my deal. And then Jay just looked at me and was like, nugget, please. That's not going to make it on. Nugget, please is not going to make it on. Come on.
Please didn't make it.
That's not going to make it on to
me talking about how I had 2. I was using my burgers as like I said. I have 2 turntables, and then I picked up a French fry and a microphone.
And I said, and yet this is where it's at. You can't say Beck lyrics. They're not going to license.
What?
They're not going to license
cheap.
Beck off
Oh,
Odelay.
I did like when I took my fries and I said, I have so much food that I can walk on my food with my food. And I use my fries as legs. Right. Nothing.
Whatever.
Come on.
So
You became the 47 percenters of fast
yeah,
food.
man.
I mean,
So-
it was really, it was one of those things that we just didn't realize we were going to do that. I mean, because we don't audition for commercials very much, mainly because we just are like, we're not
good
gonna
at it.
get it. We're
Not
not
good
going
at
to
it.
get it, and it's a waste of our time.
Yeah.
But like you, man, you're a booking machine.
Back in the day, that was my
booking
bailiwick.
machine.
Yeah.
How many, you told me one time, how many commercials over the years have you done?
Well, I kept count of how many. I worked with Joe Pitka a lot because Joe Pitka, who was, if you guys ever met that dude, was sort of the godfather of the American modern commercial, where it became like little movies. So he did all those Pepsi ones.
The
He did all the
IBMs.
IBM ones I did before that.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
And
Yes, those
so I
were
did
great.
60
IBM.
commercials with him alone.
60.
By the way, at the time when IBM was making commercials.
Yeah.
I mean, they did the Watson ones real
Right.
briefly. I'm like,
Yep.
how the fuck did you get Dylan to come
I
and do a
know.
commercial? He won't even pick up his Nobel Prize.
Right.
And-
hey, Bob Dylan, here's your call times at 1.
I
And by the way,
know.
Pitka directed that one.
Yeah.
He directs all those blue, letterbox, IBM things.
So
good.
once you got in with him,
Once he saw what you could do.
He's very
Loyal.
and because he's a gruff personality. Like he's a larger than life guy. In fact, Ivan Reitman and Joe Pitka had such a legendary feud.
Really?
Because Joe Pitka directed Space Jam, which pissed Reitman off because Reitman wanted to direct it, but Michael Jordan had done commercials with Pitka, and Pitka's a basketball fanatic and brought a basketball goal to every set I ever had, and he said, I want that guy to direct the commercial, which made
and direct the
movie,
movie.
yeah.
So did
Direct the
Pitka,
movie.
is he directing the next one?
No,
Space Jam?
I don't think he's involved in the second one. But the interesting trivia for Reitman is, so when Reitman made Ghostbusters 2, the oil painting of the evil lord that haunts
Joe Pitka.
is Joe Pitka. That's an oil painting
not
of
know
Joe
that.
Pitka.
We got to fucking ask Jason Reitman about that. I wonder if he knows about the feud between
I
him and
was
his
shooting
dad.
my first, interesting Jason Reitman tie-in. I was doing my
Big
first Joe
fan of,
Pitka
he's
commercial.
a friend of the show. We've had him on the show.
Jason and I have known each other for many years, and his first short film that he, not first short film, he did a bunch, but his first sort of, as he called it, his 800-pound gorilla that got him the deal for Thank You for Smoking All That.
Yeah,
It's this film called In God We Trust, and I was the lead guy in In God We Trust.
Nice.
So I know Jason from back in those
Yeah.
days, and I had really long sideburns and long hair at the time, and I got my first ever Joe Pitka commercial, and I said, "Well, I've already started shooting the short film, so I can't shave," and it's just commercial.
You
that
said
they're
it to
now-
Joe Pitka?
To Joe Pitka.
And he's like, get the fuck out of here.
Well, I mean, they'd already hired me. So I showed up and I'm like, but it was for the shoplifting guy, which is a commercial they're now rerunning because of the new, you don't need to register, now at Ad Age just re-release it.
Wait, are you in like a long
trench
duster?
coat.
Yes!
Yeah.
I remember that!
So I'm doing that commercial, and I tell him I can't show. He's like, "What kind of short film are you doing?" I said, "It was Jason Reitman." Well, I didn't know that Reitman was a bad word in the Pitka house. And he's like, "Oh, are you really?"
And he's thinking to himself, fuck, Reitman. The Reitman family
Reitman.
is coming to kill us.
yeah, it was funny. But
Oh, dude, that's and then you guys. So I want to talk about the ramp up to this. So I mean, so suffice to say, you guys have worked a lot, and you were fantastic in Waiting.
Thanks, man.
So
Thanks,
good,
yeah.
that unbelievable, weird, kind of small film that had Dane Cook,
Yeah.
Ryan Reynolds,
Yeah, Anna Faris.
Everybody.
Ferris. Everybody was in that movie.
Yeah.
It was like
Justin Long was
Yeah.
Justin Long
Justin
was
Long, yeah.
fantastic, and you were great in
I would
that
say that's
too.
the office space of restaurants. I mean,
Yeah.
we don't go out to eat where somebody doesn't come out from the back to go, "Hey, man."
Yeah, totally.
I love Robbie.
Yeah, no, everybody. I feel like it's required viewing if you work at a restaurant.
Yeah,
Like, they
absolutely.
put that on. Just like if you work for the United States government, an inconvenient truth is a required viewing.
Right.
Oh, joking.
So no. But you guys both are accomplished actors, and so you came together to create this series, which is
based on another series that you had been a part of. I mean, this is crazy.
Yeah.
The other series that you were part of. Explain that.
So we were, we had kind of known of each other, same way you guys knew each other. You know, you and
tell
Richard.
you how Randy and I know each other.
Jay and I were kind of familiar. We
liked each other.
We hate each other. We don't talk to each other.
We didn't share a womb, but through the acting world, right? We kind of know each other.
Sure.
But we both worked on Supernatural, but never together.
So Supernatural, for people
who may or may not know, explain what it is.
It's this juggernaut.
It's a juggernaut. That's a great way to explain it, because I think Supernatural is one of those televisions. It's shows. It's on the CW. Mm-hmm. Started when the CW was the WB.
Yeah, that's how long it's been.
Yeah,
on.
it's starting its 12th season.
And our buddy Jeremy Carver was the showrunner for a while.
Absolutely. That's right. Jeremy
Great
Carver
dude.
was one of the original gangster
Smart.
writers, became
Smart.
the showrunner.
Yeah.
Great guy.
Great guy, smart guy, someone we knew back in our...
back when he was a struggling writer and trying to get scripts seen, period.
Yeah.
It was like, I don't know what's going to happen.
And then boom, he slides into this.
I don't think he has twins.
He has twins. Yeah, he's got 3 kids. But I mean, it's... And he lived in our hood for a long time and then moved. But I mean, it was... So that show, the staying power of the show, and it is what it is. It's like a lot of supernatural stuff.
Yeah.
And for those who are into the, I guess...
It is a very
almost like a Star Trek-ish type thing.
Well, it has that fan base. The show it's got 2 dashingly handsome lead guys who are still handsome after 12 years of doing this.
Wow.
And it's rugged, and it's these rough guys fighting supernatural forces and all that kind of stuff. So it's got that element to it, and then it has created this giant sort of family element. There's this through line of family themes that go through the story.
They play brothers on the show.
And their dad was a hunter, and then mom got killed by a guy, and all these
So the
things
mythology then becomes like a major portion of it.
And then the fans just are attracted to that as well. It's not
right.
just, hey, these guys are handsome and the stories are cool and there's cool effects. It's
like you're digging into the backstories and like how things connect, and it's why Star Wars is so great.
Right.
It's why everybody...
And the writing is very smart. They hire smart writers.
Right.
Even 12th season, the writing is very good. No one's phoning it in.
Are you guys still doing episodes?
I was on...
He just directed an episode.
He's directing now.
Nice.
And I was on, had this whole arc last season.
It's amazing.
11. Yeah.
Shit.
So how many episodes have you done throughout the course of the whole thing?
Well, that's what's funny.
This is going to be sad.
This is crazy.
Yeah.
How many
So all total, they've done 200 and what?
50-something.
250 something episodes.
Almost as many
Maybe
episodes as
240.
podcasts as we
Yeah,
have.
exactly.
I was on, I think, 12 total.
I've done 5 episodes as an actor. I've directed 2. So 7.
Out of
250.
So
39
here's the
or whatever it
thing
is.
about this show is we played popular characters. Obviously, our characters were
Memorable.
But this show came up at the dawning of social media. So that's what this phenomenon is. It has to do with social media, and the fans were very vocal. I remember when I started working in season 4, and Misha Collins, who's an actor on the show, was looking at his phone. I'm like, what are you looking? He's like, people are tweeting about the show. He was fascinated about it. Well, now that's what's kept the show on the air is the fans are talking and people can actually hear that.
You
And
can
so-
create communities around these things now.
So much so that there are conventions that happen all the time.
Yeah.
And then you guys get, even though you've been on 12 out of 239 episodes, and 5 out of your memorable performances. And there are memorable performances. I mean, look, there were, 6 seasons of Entourage or 7 seasons of Entourage?
I was in 3 episodes.
He was in 3 episodes and I was in 1 episode. And our episode was like, people remember. It's
If it was very memorable because it was rare that a guest star ever had more than 2 scenes. We had 7 scenes in that episode.
Wow.
It was all about Mary J. Blige. She was also a big part of that show. And now people
So people
to this
remember,
day.
even though there were so many.
Grey's Anatomy. We did 1 episode of Grey's Anatomy, but it happened to come right when Isaiah Washington said those anti-gay comments.
Oh, wow.
And
Okay.
so the set was crazy and they had dummy sides that weren't allowed to
It was
be
like when
leaked.
25 million people were
Watched a
watching
week.
the show.
And we had a gigantic arc, or not arc, but just a whole episode where it was all about us being Siamese twins, which was a weird thing, and getting separated. That was a whole big thing. People still remember that to this day.
So
Talk
you
about
can
that.
understand how that happens, but it's crazy that it has now created a whole other form of income for you guys that you can then be asked to go to conventions and people are psyched to see you.
And the thing that's interesting about our convention circuit is people who are not aware of Supernatural as a show. And there are, by the way, there are those who have never heard of the show or kind of remember it being on TV, or rabid fans. Like that's where it kind of breaks
no middle
down.
ground.
There's no middle ground. Really, not really.
No, I've dabbled with 40 episodes. There's no one who says that.
No.
Wait, I watch like 2 a year. I fuck around with Supernatural a little bit. I'll watch like 30 minutes of one episode and then I'm out.
I watch Jared, but I won't watch Jensen.
It's on while I'm doing something else.
That crowd doesn't exist. So
how many conventions do you guys do a year?
I think I'm saying like 20?
20 a year.
And you get paid real money to come to those things.
It's not like the coal mines where you can only spend your money at the convention. It's actually real money that we can take. It's not script,
Right? You guys get paid in Supernatural dollars. Yeah.
We get paid in headshots.
But what's interesting is the convention world has become its own separate show.
Of course.
And now Rich and I, for the North American conventions, we're basically the hosts of the show. So, we start off in the morning on Friday and we close it on Sunday late afternoon. So
the model's more like Kimmel than it is what you.
My band plays on stage. Rich comes out like he's the MC.
Does the band get paid to be there too?
Oh yeah.
How great is that?
It's great for my
You're
band.
a hero in your own band. Here you go, guys. Here's some work.
But you guys were wise to create a way to make you indispensable and important for the convention so that it feels like a better convention when you guys are there and hosting it.
Yeah.
And when you tie it all together like that, look, fans are going to be there and they're going to be excited. Okay? They're going to be excited to see anybody. Characters are going to know, like, what's happening in this and what did you think about what was it like to be on the set with this? I'm sure you get all the questions. So they want to be close to talk to the people that we're that way too. Like if I saw people from,
like a small character from like
Breaking Bad or something.
So we just did 2 episodes, or we just did one.
Are we allowed to say this?
I don't know.
Don't say it. Just wink it out.
We did
Morse code.
We did 2 episodes of a very popular show that we can talk to you about after the air. You guys will see us on it when we're allowed to talk about it. It's there. We signed an NDA.
I hope you're flying on a dragon in Game of Thrones.
No, I wish it was that.
Darn it.
All right, so let's use Game of Thrones as a thing. Okay, so my wife and I watch Game of Thrones. Like intensely watch it and love it like nobody's business.
Yes.
If there was a chance for us to just sit down, even though I'm an actor, even though I know Peter Dinklage, and even though if we were able to just sit and talk to people and be like, what was this like? And what was this like? And how did you feel about it would be.
Or even Mad Men, like we were big Mad Men fans.
Yeah.
Just like a random person who had an arc in a series season.
Totally.
We were with actors like that and we're like, what?
Yeah.
What was it like?
So we understand that being 100% bought into like everything, the backstory and all the other stuff. And so, it's like I understand why there is that sort of a fervor for it. But so that's going to happen. But the fact that you guys created a thing for you guys to help tie the whole thing together, it's actually a better experience for these people showing up because there is a beginning, a middle, and an end to this thing for them.
Yeah. I think there's an interesting, like Robbie kind of nailed the sort of layout of what it is. And we jokingly say that Supernatural is the TV show and we're the Ice Capades tour.
Touring
all
company.
The characters you love, plus ice and singing and dancing.
And when you say ice, you're talking about drugs, right? You're talking about hard.
Listen, tomato.
Hard rock. You guys sling the rock.
I'm not going to say we don't do a ton of drugs backstage.
I'm just gonna say
iced out.
So, but what it's great is you then have an intimate knowledge of what these conventions are like and what the experiences are like. And I'm sure as you've been going through 20 a year for like what 5, 6, 7 years, you guys have been doing it.
Robbie and I started about 7 years ago. Yeah.
So, okay. The Malcolm Gladwell 1,000 hours, or 10,000 hours. You've hit that. So now you guys are experts on this whole thing.
We're outliers. We're effing outliers.
Yeah, you are.
Well,
so much so that you created this web series.
Yeah, we were like, about 5 years ago, we were like, if we're going to spend all this time away from our families, it's a lot. It's a lot on
You're talking to two guys
who do
the road.
20. We do 20. About 20 weekends on the road.
And we're all the same. We've got a couple kids, and it's not easy, right? No. So we're like, let's make something of this. So let's create something with this time. Yeah, let's rather than go out drinking every night, which actually we still do, but let's create something.
Let's be serious.
Let's
Come
not
on,
talk crazy,
guys. We need to.
Let's not lie to the people.
We got to drink the pain away here, guys.
While we're drinking, so we had this thought of like, because our thing was there are two elements to Kings of Con and to this whole phenomenon for Rich and I. One is that we are like the Beatles in this hotel for this weekend that we do these conventions, and then you come back home and you can't get in on a certain audition you want to, or no one knows who the hell you are.
It's the dichotomy of this experience.
Right.
That to me was what,
even in your own household. I mean, you're also like
Totally.
public enemy number one because you've been gone.
Oh, yeah.
And you haven't been around.
Yep.
So you're like, you go from being like, we got your room ready for you.
Yes,
and
totally.
there's
Do you need
upstairs.
some more? Is
there's
the
a
water the
hospitality
right temperature?
suite.
We'll warm the water
We brought
for you.
coffees backstage
Yeah.
for you, and then you come home and they're like, "Can you do this and do that because that didn't get
totally.
done, and now you got to go do that."
Yeah, people were like, "Oh my God, it's him! It's really him!" And then, like, you know,
Oh my
like,
God,
it's him.
Get him over there and take her to camp, and he's got to go to basketball.
And how do I light the fucking pilot light? I mean, like all that comes.
Where are
in
the long matches?
in the first-
How many times has someone yelled in your face, "Where are the long matches"?
Too many times. Been there.
But that dichotomy is it's so great to me. Like that to me is the richness of characters in a show. And you're like, where do we set a show now?
Right, exactly.
So you got two guys who are part of this circuit,
Right.
like you guys are, but it's not completely true. Your character is,
I love how
Rob's
you
character is recently
Right,
divorced,
right.
like in the pilot or in the
Right,
first
right.
episode, and not sure he wants to continue. And I'm guessing the travel and that kind of stuff probably led to the divorce, or maybe the involvement in the show maybe had a little something to do with it.
Yeah. I mean, you know, obviously, his relationship, he was just never around enough to make the relationship
Should work.
anything. So,
Right.
And when he was around, he was complaining about not working enough. You
Exactly,
know, they said
yeah.
sort of.
So
Double-edged sword.
we took ourselves and we blew it up in something that is a certain version of ourselves, but just over exaggerated.
Sort of using that Louis C.K. or Larry David model of like, it's us, but it's not us.
But I also like how you differentiate your characters. I also like how there's an element of you need each other. So there's a thing that like he can't just be like, I'm out. Because
No.
you're like, it doesn't work unless you're here with me.
No, it's very symbiotic, their relationship. And I think
But
that's.
that need is really good. And also the idea that you start to do these circuits and it takes up time. And it is it's almost like the minivan. You're like, you get comfortable in it and you're like, holy shit, I'm driving a minivan.
Yeah.
And you're like,
Suddenly 5 years go by.
suddenly 5 years go by and you haven't been out acting because you've made enough, you're not hungry enough to act because you made enough money to work on the circuit and it's given you enough of a life and whatnot. And it's great, but it can't go on forever. And then suddenly you're out of the loop.
Right.
And that is like something that
Fear, that looming cloud,
Right.
is the best drive for Rob's character.
Yeah.
Your character's more sold in on what you're doing. there.
I went ahead and bought the van.
Right.
And you're like,
I'm
I
stoked
fucking
by the
love it, dude.
stereo.
You bought the van and you're trying to sell him another van.
Yeah, exactly. I'm like, dude, you think you don't love this van? Drive this van.
drive this van.
Get behind the wheel of the van, take it for a ride.
Put your ass in that
Come
seat
back
and tell
and
me
tell
it's
me
not
it's not the
comfortable.
nicest
That's
ride
right.
you had.
Tell me it's not comfortable.
Right.
Yeah.
We can still go 90 in this van.
That's right, man.
We can still go 90 in this van.
And by the way, you go 90 in this van, you'll get a pass from the thing. People think you're driving your kids to the
Oh,
hospital.
you got a kid. Somebody's vomiting in the back
And
seat.
you're not gonna want that other car.
No. It feels like you're going 140.
Think of all the pussy you can get in this van.
It's a shaggin' wagon.
It's a shaggin' wagon.
Shaggin'
Drop those seats down in the back. They all go down.
Everything goes down.
So the other thing about the show is that we realized that the craziest people at the conventions are the actors themselves. And that was another sort of theme for us.
And I think from a business standpoint, that's where, because the world we are examining, which is near and dear to our heart because we've been in it so long, is not one that hasn't been tried a few times by other people. And sometimes with success. I mean, Galaxy Quest sort of went there a little bit.
Galaxy Quest
whatever.
went there, and I think the other most famous sort of media flashpoint for it was when Shatner was on SNL and
had the moment of like,
just
what are you guys
calling
doing?
everyone
What the
out.
hell are you
Right.
doing?
Right.
What do you live in your mom's basement? I mean, that was the first moment where they calling out someone for living in their mom's
Right.
basement. Like that moment. And that was a very bald, bare like take on it. I feel like you guys aren't attacking the fans in this.
But
at
what's
all.
changed
That's
from
it.
Galaxy Quest is nowadays, if you guys have been to Comic-Con down in San Diego,
Yes.
and there are Comic-Cons everywhere now.
Right.
But the Comic-Con in San Diego is massive. I would say San Diego's economy could be called Comic-Con based.
Yes.
Yes.
It is. That's where Patton Oswalt went down to record his last 1 hour special, was at that Comic-Con, because he understood the people that were going to be there. I'm going to record it in San Diego at a theater during Comic-Con.
The city swells with all kinds of media people, and these aren't just like, it isn't like a nerd fest. It's everybody
Right.
on top of that. Yes, it's also a nerd fest. Yes, it's media. Yes, it's
Hollywood.
movies. It's Hollywood. It's
But the
everybody.
biggest movies of the last couple of years were
Superhero movies.
and and
And
Deadpool and
Star
Rogue
Wars.
One and
That's
Star
right.
Wars. So that is the pinnacle. The nerds run the school, and
Yeah.
so Comic-Con has come into people's consciousness in a way
so much so that like everything else is now called a con.
Yeah,
it's almost like Watergate made anything something gate.
This is podcast con.
Yeah. We're podcast
PodCon. I'm sure
that's a thing. PodCon.
But there is like adult con,
right?
And every other con is a thing everywhere. I don't know why that was the first one that came out of my
Yeah, why is that?
But doesn't it feel like there's an adult con? There's an adult con like every weekend. They'll be like,
there is
like this weekend downtown.
You're on the email blast. I don't.
True.
Well, what happens is one adult con
on your phone.
One adult con comes out and then it spreads to others.
Well, there was one that was in Lancaster that lay dormant for a while. And then it flared back up again.
Good one.
But and Rich has a thing about nerd being it's like an old fashioned word now. Like
it's stupid.
I think there's a big misnomer, and Rob kind of touched on it earlier when he was talking about social media, the tipping point with Supernatural and social media. I think what cons have done now is they've spun the whole world on its axis based on social media. I believe what we used to think of in the terms of that sort of convention fan, that quote unquote geek or nerd,
lives in mom's basement, 46 years old,
might have been a real thing. It's possible in the 70s.
Sure there are those people that are there too.
But it was based on a probably recurring guy.
But that was when they had to travel to find their community. Because they were a fan of something, and in order to meet with other people who are fans of that same thing, they would have to go to an event where those people were to which they were drawn.
And you share.
The internet has changed that.
Totally.
So that these people don't arrive as loners feeling like, I wonder if anybody will be there that likes Game of Thrones. They've already got a 1 million person community online. They're already ahead of the curve, feeling social, feeling confident, know they're not alone, know they're going to be cosplaying with other cool cosplayers.
It's a fun, for them, it is like Disneyland.
Yeah, it's Coachella.
It is Coachella.
And it's everybody. It's not, the idea
young,
of the stereotype.
old men, women.
Professionals. It's anybody who's it's like going to a Pearl Jam concert and looking around the audience. It's not like all one person with one job.
And
it's
also
fans of this
except
music.
for black people. But think about think about everybody's life in terms of like how difficult it is to work and how hard people are working these days, and they're getting ground down, and so for them to cut loose and just have fun digging into something that they love or something that and again,
a lot of
the
fantasy,
escapism, the fantasy and the escapism creates that rabid nature. And I know in the series you guys probably shot some of that footage, a lot of it at actual conventions.
That pilot we did. The pilot we shot on the road, going back to the genesis of the thing, when Rob was talking about us having the idea. 2 years ago, we decided, well,
let's shoot a sizzle.
What are we going to do? Let's shoot a sizzle. I went and bought a 5D, and we just went around, and it was like in New Jersey.
Didn't really have a script. We had a little bit of a script, but improvised.
Or he'd hammer out something upstairs real quick, and it was either 100% improvised or following a basic structure.
Outline, right?
Mm-hmm. And that's how we sort of built the first model. And then when it worked, then and we were able to sort of build a production off of it. Then we actually took over a hotel in Simi Valley and
shot the scenes there.
Dude, I love the authentic nature of it.
I love the moment where you're in the backstage room with everyone about to go on, and you're like, "All right, guys, let's do this. Who's ready?" And some woman behind you's like, "We have 15 more minutes." And he's like, 15-minute warning.
It's a 15-minute call.
15-minute warning, guys.
I need you to respond to me.
And then you just leaned over and looked at what some guy was looking at on his iPad, and you're like, Jesus. That little nugget of 5 jokes all in a row to me are what made me love.
Here's what works for me, and this is why I want people to see it, is that you guys are both of you, such great actors. A lot of people want to try and pull this off who don't have the ability to carry the emotion. It's like you allow there to be real emotion that gets in the middle of this thing, because the fantasy of it and the backdrop is crazy. Okay, that's just crazy. It's a world that most people don't really understand unless you go to these conventions. You're introducing something to a lot of people who they probably don't know. But the emotion of it can be real. I got into this whole discussion about Rogue One with a friend of mine who's a huge fan, and I was like, this is the reason why I liked Force Awakens more than Rogue One, is that there were moments in Force Awakens where it was just about a father and his son. And I know we're like in the middle of a fucking Death Star and we're in the middle of a thing, but it really came down to a relationship between. I didn't feel as much of that in the latest one. That's okay. That's not what it was supposed to do, but I wasn't as connected to it. So you guys bring in these like things that are really kind of real and emotional. Two friends, a guy whose marriage is falling apart, need to be accepted and need to be validated and need to be doing things and working on something that you're proud of. Those things carry across all. It doesn't even matter. You don't even have to be at a convention. It's just great that it's there because it's a world that most people don't know.
Absolutely. You don't need to know the convention world to appreciate our show. At the end of the day, it is about two friends, two kind of quirky friends.
It's character driven for sure.
Mm-hmm. And and comedy is comedy. It's not an inside joke. We're not doing
so where is it? Where can people get it?
It's you can do one of two things.
Okay.
You can download the Comic-Con HQ app.
Okay.
Now you can do that on a telephone, Robbie. You could do it on a computer.
Like on a landline?
So
can you do it on a landline?
Rotary phone.
On a rotary.
Nana's trying to do it on the rotary still. So you can do that on the it's Amazon Prime, the Roku, the Apple TV. There's that. You can also go to the website, which is comic-conhq.com.
Okay. Great.
And sign up
And
there.
it's like, it's what, $5 a month, and you get, we have our show. Nathan Fillion also has a show with Alan
Worked
Tudyk.
with him. So good. And Alan Tudyk, who's phenomenal, who was the
Who's
voice of
in Rogue One.
He's the voice of
And I think physically he actually was there wearing that outfit some of the time, too.
Oh,
It was
no
like-
way.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
He's a great guy. He's good friends with our buddy, a friend of ours who worked on our old show, Cheap Seats. Great dude.
Oh, cool.
yeah.
So, they have a show, and then
Mark Hamill.
Mark Hamill has a reality show where he talks to people who collect things, and you have access to all these old Comic-Con panels, so you can go see the Game of Thrones panel. From
And by the way, good movies. I just watched Reservoir Dogs on the app the other day.
Wow, shit.
So anyway, that's
awesome.
That's where you find us, and then
good.
we're doing this after show every Tuesday because they're rolling it out like a TV show, like one episode a week. So while that's being done, Tuesday at 7:00 we have an after show which is free on YouTube and whatnot.
Nice. And do your the fans from Supernatural, are they like watching this?
Yeah, they've been amazing.
They're our bread and butter.
They're amazing.
We should mention. I mean, we launched this show on the back of a crowdfunding campaign.
Oh, Jesus, that's awesome.
Yeah. So when Robbie and I had the idea, and
I mean, it was another crowdfunding campaign. It was about like sort of a hotel in Somalia. That had
we
taken over.
lied.
Hotel Somalia.
I can't believe
It's
you
just a
guys
sequel to Hotel.
You
Rwanda.
guys sponged off the Hotel Somalia.
You jerks!
Yeah, I know.
To fund your fucking Comic-Con show.
a lot of people who bought the vacation
People
package.
died in Somalia in order for you to do this.
Right.
and to pay off my minivan. It was both of those things.
All
On
because
the backs of someone else's Kickstarter.
all because
campaign.
it was the same hotel in Hotel Somalia as it was where the con was.
Yeah, we got a rate to shoot.
Toronto.
the hotel
Sons of
link.
bitches. Well, no, it is great to see that. Like, this is something that again.
Organic
This is
came-
why when we say to our listeners, support the things that then get, because then great stuff gets made. I don't know if this, you guys were able to demonstrate in this series, and I hope everybody comes and checks this out and watches it, because if you love this stuff, you will love it. Even if you don't, you will love it, because
If
it's
you
really
like
well done.
comedy,
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
what we always
it's-
said. It's not a comedy for convention goers. It's a comedy for comedy lovers. And I
Yeah.
feel like
Straight up.
because
Yeah.
the backdrop is interesting, like you said. The wallpaper is new and unique, but it's tried and true character
It's
driven
just great.
comedy.
I mean, we love it, and we are snobs about that shit. So like, it totally passed our test of something that we're like, we love. Should we take a break?
Yeah, let's take a little break
and then
come back and we'll do quick hits.
We'll come back. We'll do some quick hits with these
Richard
knuckleheads.
and Rob.
This is In a Drawer, Band of Horses, with a little bit of J Maskus thrown in just
Yeah,
for
Dinosaur
everybody.
Jr.
Just a dash of Maskus. We'll be back with more Sklarbro
Dinosaur
Countries.
Jr.
That's right after this.
The whistle of an arbor call.
Guys, there's a new podcast you should check out, especially if you're into hoops, basketball. It's called CalCast, and the host is John Calipari, head coach in the University of Kentucky. The first episode with Charles Barkley, not Gnarls Barkley, Charles
Barkley.
It's really great. He tells a story about the most awkward moment of his life, and then he shares his take on one-and-done players, which I can't wait to hear.
Listen
his
to
take on.
Cal's real conversations with people at the top of their game, like Hall of Fame players and heads of Fortune 500 companies. He's John Calipari.
Yeah.
Cal even said that he was trying to get Trump on there. If he does, that would be huge. Subscribe to CalCast in iTunes, Google Play, or Stitcher.
I wonder if he'll hold his feet to the fire. All right, everybody, welcome back to Sklarbro Country. I want to remind people, as we do, that in a few weeks, on January 17th, our new podcast, launches in its new feed, which you can sign up for now because there is stuff.
This one stays, just for any confusion. Sklarbro Country, which drops on Fridays, stays in at Earwolf, stays in the same feed. You don't
keep
have to
your
do a
subscription. Keep listening to the show. Dumb People Town, which used to be Sklarbro County, Dumb People Town will start at Feral Audio on January 17th. You can
subscribe there. You can go to Feral Audio. You can subscribe right on that front page. You can go to our website, supersklars.com, and just go to the podcast section, subscribe right away, or just go to iTunes and subscribe. Go to iTunes, Dumb People Town. It's up. There's some nuggets there for you to enjoy right now. Let's try and get as many people subscribed before January 17th as possible. And then, boom, we just
hit
launched
the ground running.
That. So we were by the way, tickets for our special will be available to shoot in Chicago on February 11th to shoot our next special, which will be on CISA, which we're very excited about. At Lincoln Hall in Chicago, should be available, I think, after the first of the year. I think so. We'll let you know as that happens.
Yeah, people have been asking about that. We want to fill that up with our fans.
Oh, and one quick small thing: we did move our Portland date 1 week up. So we were supposed to be in Helium in Portland on March 30th. That weekend, we went the weekend before, just to let you know. It's not a big thing.
They're like a more polished you and me.
Nah,
Better dressed too.
Better dressed. They got dates on. You and I are like, where's the address? What are we doing there?
What are we doing?
What are we doing here?
We'll be somewhere. They'll be rolling us onto stage somewhere.
They'll be rolling us up
in your town here.
We played Band of Horses. We mentioned it. We opened for Band of Horses.
That's amazing.
Here in LA at the.
We were
in New York. We went to see in Webster Hall with our friend Mitchell Scher. Mitch Scher, who's a great producer who produced and directed our Jose Oquendo special, getting Jose Oquendo into the Hall of Fame.
Nice.
We ultimately didn't do. We just got a fake plaque that we had made of him hung on the utility closet.
That's all right.
Seemed appropriate.
Hey, that's
utility man.
How's his health these days?
He's all right. I think he broke his leg.
He had a knee operation.
Okay.
But he'll be back next year. Players love him. We love Jose.
Yep.
Jose Oquendo is
he's number one twice.
He was number 11. What we love about him is
more postseason home runs than Ted Williams.
Nice.
So Mitch Scher and we went to see Band of Horses, and then Fred Armisen, our buddy Fred Armisen, was playing drums and opening kind of for them backstage. After the show, we're hanging out with Fred, and Fred was like, you should have these guys open up for you in LA, which was the nicest thing. And we were like, shit, yeah, let's do it. And I think they were on the fence because they kind of knew us, but they weren't sure. But we told those guys,
we're heading up to Bristol, Connecticut the next day to shoot some stuff for Cheap Seats. And we're like, John Buccigross, who's like a Sports Center anchor who loves indie rock.
We'll tell them about you guys, and we'll mention the lead singer, Ben, or what was I forgot his last
Ben
name.
Something, yeah.
So we said, hey, man, we will, because he had this sort of phraseology that he used to use.
When someone hit a home run, like Ben Gibbard is to Death Cab for Cutie,
so-and-so is to the Padres, you know?
wow. Awesome.
So we said, we'll have them name check you. Watch Sports Center tomorrow night.
Oh, awesome.
So we saw Buccigross and we're like, we got one for you. And we're like, use this one tonight. And he did. And they watched it and they were like blown away that they got name checked because they were small back then. This was just when like Weed Party and Fallen or
Great Salt Lake.
Great Salt Lake. The Funeral, I think, was the album.
Funeral, yeah.
So that was the first album. So it just come out. Our friend told us about them and we loved them, but they were playing smaller venues. So they were like, come into the Palace here in LA. And they said, you guys want to open? We said, sure. So there was another act opening. So we came on stage and we did probably about 10, 12 minutes at the top of the show.
Which, you know, for an audience that's not expecting comedy, standing up, it was phenomenal. We were like,
so then we brought up the first act and he performed and we were getting cocky and confident. We're like, shit, we did great. Let's do another bit between him and Band of Horses.
Was it a musician between?
Yes, it was a musician. It was a solo guy.
Fucking hubris.
Dumbest idea.
Hubris.
This is hubris up our asses. We get back up there and start trying to perform, and it's just death. Like, we just eat it because no one wants to see us anymore. Now they're there to see Band of Horses. We did our thing. We should have just been like, are you guys ready for the show? And then maybe done one silly joke.
Nope, didn't do it. We ate a bag of shit. It was so
are you guys ready to see the Shins? We could have done something like that. Great joke. Great quick joke. Yeah. Just checking to see because they're coming in 2 months. You know, silly.
Are you ready?
Are you ready?
In the
Why am I a dick? Why am I a dick? Because I asked you if you're ready for a concert that's coming in 2 months.
Come
It's
on,
like
guys.
earthquake preparedness. You
Yeah,
gotta think
thank
ahead.
you. How
Always-
prepared are you for the shins?
Where is your goddamn shins kit? All right, anyway. All right, let's get into these stories, shall we?
All right, let's do it. Let's do it.
Now, as a Cardinals fan, Rob, I know
Yes.
you're from St. Louis like us.
Absolutely,
There's
yep.
just all the Cubs it gnaws at you and your inner.
No, we've said this before. It feels like we're in one of those 1980s soul switching movies.
Yes.
The Cubs and the Cardinals have switched souls,
Yep.
and now we're fucking Dudley Moore
Yeah.
in a 16-year-old.
Which, by the way, Judge Reinhold, while we were gone,
busted
at an airport
because they
wanted to do like a go in the room and we'll do the check of you at Dallas Love
On
Field.
Judge Reinhold?
On Judge Reinhold, and I was like, and so he got belligerent. But all I saw was the headline: Judge Reinhold
Gets
busted.
arrested at airport.
and I thought it was because he was masturbating to Phoebe Cates coming out of a Hudson News.
And by the way, no jury would convict.
No, Jerry would
You know
convict
what I'm
that. But there is a moment if you're masturbating to Phoebe Cates, who as a young boy didn't
not,
masturbate
yeah.
to those tits coming out of the fucking, oh my God, that was just beautiful.
I can't listen to the cars moving in stereo without pulling the car over.
Yeah, without getting
I
pulled.
have to have a Daddy, what's wrong? Daddy,
Daddy
needs a minute.
needs a minute.
Kids, close your eyes.
I gotta
Daddy
breathe.
needs a
Dad,
minute.
roll down the windows, guys.
Anyway, so he comes out, but there's a moment if you're not done by the time she rounds the pool where you are then jerking off to Judge Reinhold
Reinhold.
jerking off. It's like the weirdest MC Escher painting ever.
Hand drawing the
Which
hand.
came first? Anyway, all right.
So Jake Arrieta, he's a world champion.
Yeah,
he's an ace
yeah, yeah.
pitcher.
He's a millionaire. He's
loved.
beloved by Cubs fans everywhere.
So why is he acting like a redneck rube and honoring a dumb tattoo bet?
We talked about this on the show. Don't use a tattoo as an end to a bet because that is
You will lose. And
We've
then
been to tattoo parlors. We did
tattoo
on our-
parlors say don't put a girlfriend on, don't put a wife on. You can put your kids or you can put your parents. Do not get a tattoo of your
because
spouse
it's
or
basically saying that things aren't going to work out.
Yeah, it's like naming your boat the Never Sink. You know, like
Or the Titanic.
So Arrieta was so convinced that his former college baseball team would win the College World Series over another player on the club's Tommy LaStella, his alma mater, that he bet that he'd get a tattoo
Of the opposing team.
of Coastal Carolina if Coastal Carolina won. Well, guess what? Coastal Carolina pulled off the upset. They won, and he had to get the tat.
He did it.
What are the Coastal Carolinas mascot? What's their thing?
I mean,
What-
it's
what's
not
that-
the mascot. He just got CCU, like 2016 champs. That's it. In green, in their colors.
On his arm?
I don't know if it was on his arm.
Tattoo.
On his body.
That's
We don't know
forever.
where. He didn't show enough of
Tramp
a picture.
Tramp stamp.
It could be a tramp stamp.
Kind of hot.
To me, if you're doing it there,
Me.
do it on your asshole. I put it somewhere where no one's going to put it on the bottom of your foot.
Where do you want it?
You know, I tell you something. There's the real loser in this bet scenario is the tattoo artist who
Yeah.
has to
Yeah.
tattoo your anus.
That would
apparently
be-
with CC.
Well, CC 2016 champs. People on Twitter reached out and they said that he's now their favorite guy. Why?
Why? What?
Why would you? That's not a good.
First of all, you won the World Series for the Cubs.
That's
okay?
not enough?
Yeah.
You can do whatever you want. You can back out on a bet. I'm willing to say this right now. If Chris Bryant murdered another man in front of the Chicago PD,
Right.
he'd be
They'd be
fine.
like,
He's good.
They-
Yeah,
well,
keep
I mean,
walking.
They don't know what happened. We don't know what led up to it. It's
Yeah, it's
a champion.
Crime of passion.
Self-defense.
He's a champion.
Total premeditated
See
murder.
what that guy did to him? Total. See what that guy did to him?
Like in his house, manifesto, premeditated murder, gone.
Yeah, but
Have
By
a good day.
the way, that's OJ. I mean, I just watched the OJ documentary. The real
How
life.
good was that thing?
Unreal.
All
Unreal.
10 parts. You're like, okay,
Yeah.
this
Five
change-
parts.
all 5 parts. This change all 10 hours. This
Yeah.
changes documentary filmmaking.
Yes. Yeah.
I haven't seen it yet.
Unbelievable.
Dude,
Right,
just
right.
hunker down.
Tell
say
your
goodbye to your
boys.
kids.
Say,
Yeah.
boys, I know I'm gone 20
Yeah.
weeks out of the year.
It's
But
like
Daddy's
the,
also
it's like the
leaving
Phoebe
now.
Cates thing.
JC,
Pull over
you
the
gotta
van.
take him.
But wait a minute, is this good holiday watching? Should I make this my Christmas?
Oh, it's
Like,
good anytime watching.
anytime.
Just incredible filmmaking.
You know what? Set yourself up for the next 5 nights. Watch it.
By the way, if you back out of a bet, you're Jake Arrieta. You
Okay.
anchored that team. Like
Right.
Tommy LaStella was a guy who went 0-1.
0 for 1.
Yeah.
0 for 1. Not 0-1. 0 for 1.
He's the backup third baseman, second baseman.
You know what he's hitting? 0.
No way.
You don't
Wait,
have
at
to
least
honor
you
him.
can
Tell
tell-
that guy. He comes back at you like Coast Carolina wins. Just like, fuck you. I'm not doing this. You're
He will
Jake
go
Arrieta.
down as the guy that beat Arrieta in that bet.
Yeah.
That's what
like
he's known
that
for.
guy.
Oh,
0-1.
good
He shouldn't
point.
even
It's
get a
actually
ring.
Brilliant strategy.
That guy shouldn't even get a ring. I
get a plastic version of the ring.
Right.
Well, now hold on. Everybody slow your roll. I mean, to be the best, don't you have to have the worst near you to show the measurement?
By the way, if he loses the bet, I feel like Jake Arrieta could go to front office management and be like, trade this guy.
Get out.
Get rid of this guy. Cut him. Put him on waivers. All right.
Well, maybe that's it for Arrieta. Maybe
That's right. Never
fall
know.
downhill
Maybe this
from here.
exactly the curse of the bet.
Yeah.
All right. Now it is the holiday season, and I know people are ordering, and hopefully, if you're still ordering, and I don't know, if you
Use
can,
our Amazon link on our page here on Earwolf.
kicks a little money back to us, but there are plenty of packages out on people's porches.
Hulk Hogan.
Packages.
Hulk Hogan's.
Speaking of Hulk Hogan's package,
What?
His house was targeted by porch pirates, which porch pirates feels like too great of a name for what these
well, it kind of seems
cowards are doing.
It does seem a little racist on some level. Porch pirates.
It's either that or it's the next top indie band that's going to crash the charts.
Porch pirates is
Nobody loves
a
Porch Pirates.
There is a band called Porch or Porches.
Yeah, Porches.
Porches.
I was thinking maybe it's the mascot for that team. It's
the Porch
Pirates.
Pirates.
Coastal Carolina Porch Pilots. We will steal the packages off your freaking.
Or it's just lazy pirates.
Okay, so what? Yeah, Porch Pirates.
So these guys. I mean, I hate senseless crime. I really do think it's evil that these people steal these packages from people's houses because you're exposed, and this is the system that I do in my heart, in a real way, hope that anyone who steals from someone, their car loses control, they drive into a pole, and then they're paralyzed. Not dead, just paralyzed for the rest of their life.
Yeah.
They can never walk up on a porch again. All right, so that's my
As long as you can't take another step up again.
onto a porch.
Only ramps.
You can get if you
can't-
can get your wheelchair up a ramp and then take a package. If you have a fast motorized wheelchair,
That's yours.
That's
Well
your
played.
package.
You can actually walk on an even like in a straight line, but
Yeah.
if there's a step or anything,
One
you can't.
step, you're
You
done.
fall out. You fall out.
To wish that on someone, is that bad during the holidays?
Am I a bad person?
No,
Are
I
you
don't
bad?
think anybody would.
Well, these
Freaking porch
guys
pilot.
want to take it down. This racist orange man, Hulk Hogan. We don't know the identity of the thieves, but we know what
know they're
race.
pirates.
Well, we know what race Hulk Hogan thinks they are, just based on his.
Tell me.
He dropped some N-bombs.
He dropped some N-bombs on the show. Yeah. He took it to a new level. And
No.
people, it was bad for him. Now, you know Hulk Hogan was in a whole
sex tape scandal.
Yeah.
Remember that?
I saw
Gawker.
that
He kind of
against Gawker.
single-handedly took down
He
Gawker.
took down Gawker.
Gawker Media. He won $140 million settlement.
Yeah.
And then
They leaked a tape, and they weren't allowed to. It was personal. I mean, that's a pretty big step. for
That's
them.
huge.
I
Yeah.
think if Hulk Hogan, in this day and age, if Hulk Hogan wanted to run for president, I feel like he could.
Against
Yeah.
Trump.
I feel like in this day and age, he could.
Hey, we're
But what
elected-
do they steal?
Yeah, but
Orange
I'm not
people-
sure if that's a good thing.
Orange people get
it's
elected
not
in this
something we
country.
Yeah, he is a certain race. He's
Yeah.
orange.
But
But
by the way,
like,
Hulk Hogan was in Muppets in Space. I'm just saying.
There you go.
he was Muppets in Space, and in Muppets in Space, they had to call him for some reason Hollywood Hogan, and they
Really?
kept calling him Hollywood. And I'm like, who are you talking about?
Wasn't he officially Hollywood Hogan for a while? Wasn't
I
he?
don't know.
There was his Ocho Cinco moment. I feel like he went
when he
World
left.
peace.
When he left, was it when he left the WWF?
Maybe.
I
It's
don't
like
know.
when
They
Prince
wouldn't let him
became
take
the
the name
symbol.
But look, what did they steal? I mean, they probably stole some anabolic steroids, maybe
Yeah.
some bronzer.
Yeah,
I'm
face
going to go
coloring.
on a limb and say SodaStream. It's the gift that keeps
One
giving this
Soda
year.
Stream.
I love Soda
Me too. I'm saying I've got a lot of people
I
getting
love
SodaStreams
it.
this year, and Hogan's probably had one coming. And
What do you get a racist for the holidays? Soda Stream.
I just
Why
I'm
not?
I'm shocked that why has he not seen Pirates of the Caribbean? Why would you go with the N-bomb? There's no I don't sure that pirates they are all
He should
of all
I also
colors
feel
of the
like
rainbow.
Terry Bollea, I'm going to call him by his God-given name, should at least have someone, an assistant, come by and just sweep the porch for packages during
You got
this time of
$140 million.
You got
hire a porch guard.
hire a porch guard
Yeah.
or some security cameras.
Yeah, would he kill you to have? How about a fence?
He had
drop it on the other
he
side
had
of a fence.
ADT.
What do the security cameras show?
It showed people stealing the
You know,
things.
it
What,
showed,
did it show
it
the
showed
color?
Big John
I don't
Studd
know.
walking up.
That to me, how great would have been if Ivan Putski
Superfly
Yeah,
Snooker.
totally.
or Superfly Snooker. Well, may he. I don't know if he
Superfly
should wrestle.
leaping from the side of the porch.
and then murdering a woman.
Yes.
He did do that. All right. 'Tis the season, and quite frankly, I can't believe it's taken us this long to talk about the professional sport of pole dancing.
Obviously.
The
International
sport of queens, I think, is what we like to call
Queens, New York, or
Maybe. I don't know.
Queens.
Where scores? Is it in Queens? I don't know.
Well, sure enough, we've got controversy and drama, and it centers around the Chinese women's. I don't think there's a men's
course.
team. Chinese women's team. Let me start by saying I was shocked to find out that there were enough women in China to field the team.
Because
don't
they throw away
They
the
throw away
female
the
babies.
female babies, yeah.
Just
So the
them.
Chinese team shows up to the World the global pole dancing championships.
You guys are.
Daddy did not know this existed.
Yeah, exactly.
Right? Does this take place at a Crazy Girls in Berlin? What
if you guys start hosting it?
I was going to say, I feel like there should be a neighboring convention. Don't you think Supernatural fans would love to walk across the street?
Let's plot the schedule here.
Season
How
2.
are you not hosting one of these?
I've never heard of it, but trust me, I'm texting somebody now.
He's texting. So they show up, and the Chinese team looks around at all the flags representing all the countries that are participating in the global pole dancing championships, and they don't see the Chinese flag. Oh, snap.
Oh,
yeah, that's a
pole snap.
The pole snap.
Who to point the finger to there?
Yeah, well, that's right. I mean, that's the last thing these women who dance on poles want, is to have themselves disrespected in any way.
Of course, it's not that.
I mean, their self-respect is so high as it is.
Yeah.
So what they did is they put up their own flag because they needed China to know that they were representing them. Actually, they needed to let China know that. Otherwise, China would have blamed the women themselves for the mistake.
they would have definitely done
and probably had them murdered or thrown in a dumpster. So they flew their own flag and demanded that the global pole dancing championships honor their wishes and fly their flag officially by the finals. Okay. This is before the semifinals when they showed up.
Okay, of course.
And it's really those early rounds that'll get you.
Yeah.
Am I right? You know, it's like people aren't prepared for those rounds, and then they get to the semis.
You get to the Sweet 16 of the pole
People
dancing
don't
championship.
take those early rounds seriously.
They think.
So the global pole dancing championships claimed that their pole for China was broken.
The old broken pole.
A broken pole.
The flagpole was broken.
I'll show you a broken pole.
Yeah, the pole broken at the pole dancing championship.
to the left.
Couldn't they just have used an extra pole from the pole dancing championships?
There's nothing in this sentence that doesn't have pole in it. How hard could it have been?
Well, the other thing, they should have just told the
Polish team.
The Polish
team could have set one.
The poles.
God damn
a pole could have just held it.
A pole could have held it. No, but I mean, they should have said exactly what probably happened with the pole dancing pole, is that, it released and then it was down for a while. And now it's got to reload. Give it a couple days. It'll come back.
It had to go to half mast.
It's a 49-year-old pole. It needs a couple days to reload and come back.
You go there, pole it was 20 years ago.
You see half a pole eating a pizza, watching
Game of Thrones or Game of Thrones. Right.
Supernatural.
I want more on what this championship really looked like.
I didn't even know there was a league. I mean, we're talking about the champion. We're skipping. I don't know. I didn't know there was they were farming a team in my local area. I didn't know I could take the kids.
There's like a D-League version of it.
Yeah, I mean, this is great.
It's ridiculous. So the 5 women who qualified for the finals, they had 5 qualified. They boycotted the finals and didn't get to pole dance, which must have brought so much disgrace to their families in China.
Oh my God!
Almost as much disgrace as had they danced in the pole dancing championship. Now, by the way, I'm not knocking pole dancing. I know it's hard to do. It takes a lot of forearm strength,
hard,
right?
man.
Yeah. I probably couldn't pull myself up on the pole.
Strength. Let's talk about the thighs. The inner thigh strength
takes a lot of forearm strength, a whole lot of meth, a baby to support.
Inner thigh.
It's more of a sport than drone racing, which, by the way, is on ESPN too.
That's not a sport.
Really?
Yes, it is drone racing.
Pole dancing requires something physical involved.
And it's far more fun to watch.
I think doing something and competing with each other, you can't label it a sport and just call it a sport. That's not. I mean, we can't.
No, or can you?
Okay, are we having a sport now? Are we arguing about sport?
Arguing about international arguing. Someone sent us the video of 2 Japanese women doing a rock paper scissors thing that was maybe one of the best things I've ever seen in my life. Full of snap zooms. That made it feel like a sport.
There you go.
Guys, I need a minute.
Richard just went in the corner.
Oh Lord!
And now he's back.
The series is Kings of Con. It is available on, one more time,
comic-conhq.com or download the app on your Apple TV and your phone.
Do it, you guys. It's such a great creative series. Rob Benedict, Richard Spade. Thank you guys for coming on the show.
Thanks for having us, guys.
Thank you so much for having us.